Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of RLG Cast Reviews. Today we're talking the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I'm here with the Super Mario Bros. Themselves, Alfonso down at the bottom, the Montreal Expos man, and the Putty man to my left, who's 90% plumber.
It's
Um,
me, Puttyman.
so I mean, I do we need to do a no spoiler review for this? Or
What's
should
there to
we just
spoil?
review this?
There's nothing much to spoil.
Okay, well, we'll break it down quickly. This movie basically what happens is the Mario brothers are plumbers living in Brooklyn, and they get pulled down through a mysterious pipe or a hole in the ground, whatever it may be, to the Mushroom
King.
Kingdom, where they have to help Princess Toadstool or Peach defeat Bowser, who's trying to take over
Or
all
King
of
Koopa.
taking over all of their areas. And so, okay, so I went into this. I think we were all pretty optimistic, minus the Chris Prattness of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it really struggled to truly live up to expectations. And that's a hard thing to say because a lot of people's arguments to me are, well, the movie is not for you. It's made for these people. Well, obviously, it's made for us. If you watch this movie,
You grew up with
it completely caters to the audience of people that would have grown up with Mario rather than just trying to get children to come see a movie. That's how I felt watching this. But at the same time, it's really shallow on substance. They wrote the movie as if they don't really care about the product. It was like
they knew
many
it was going to make
references.
$1 billion.
Yeah. But we knew that too. I said that from the beginning. Remember, people were questioning. I said, "There's no way it's going to kill." But it felt like they made a movie just to make a movie. And how many Easter eggs, how many references can we cram into this without having to have any character growth, any story growth, any world building? Like, why not? We'll do it spoiler free for a second here, I guess. I think Chris Pratt was far better than I expected, just to put that out there.
Yep.
I don't think that ended up being the real issue, and I think the
mean,
animation
everybody,
was brilliant.
I think, did a decent job on their voice casting.
For me, I'll
Except
give you
for
three.
one, I'll get back to
okay.
it.
Well, we'll let you go right in a second. I'll give you my three for sure. Keegan Michael Key was great as Toad.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I thought Jack Black was great as Bowser.
I think that was number one to me, to be honest.
I think Charlie Day was really good as Luigi.
That was my number two.
Even I'll give a little shout out to Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach. Except the one thing was everyone I felt like was playing really to their character tropes, where she didn't. She just gave an Anya Taylor-Joy performance.
Yeah,
and which was fine. It was good. But yeah, she was good.
I would argue so did Fred Armisen. That's a typical Fred Armisen performance.
But anyway, he was pretty good as it. I'll give him that. But I'll let you guys go now. Try to keep it spoiler free.
Well, I mean,
you're gonna say something about the voice actress, buddy.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna get into that. Here's my thing. And that's actually one of the moments that took me out of this movie. When I went into this as a member berries. I knew watching the trailers that this was going to be something that's based on nostalgia. It worked for me. It really made it fun for me. Now, when I came home, I went in character to talk about it when I came home and doing all that stuff. And I said that I have mixed feelings with this. There is no plot, but it's Mario. I mean, the thing is, this is basically a kid's. The one thing I always want to point out is Mario games in general don't really have a big cohesive plot. Good games like Mario RPG, things of that nature, do have a good plot, but like the baseline games don't. It's for fun. It's for awesomeness. So as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, okay, they get these characters and they made them a little bit different. This made it enjoyable. The one that actually took me on my place was Donkey Kong. Because of the nostalgia, it took me out because I didn't have the version of Donkey Kong. You know what I mean? The whole thing with Donkey Kong Country. But then what made it even worse was the laugh. And that's all I'm going to say. And then we'll get to that later on if you know what I'm talking about. When I heard that, I talked to other people and they said they didn't know that was that person's laugh. And I was like, well, but anyway, we'll get into it. Yeah. But my point to the thing is I know it's based on for fun, and what made it successful is because every one of us played Mario games. As a kid, all parents buy like Nintendos for their kids first because it's a kid thing. It's kid friendly. So you're always going to be explored to that Nintendo thing.
I mean, my parents gave me a Sega, so.
Well, I had both, but But anyway, you get what I'm saying. My point to the thing is that's how I feel about the whole situation. So yeah, I liked it because of the nostalgia feel. But if I was to sit there and actually take it apart and say, is it a good movie? No, it's just basically a promo for Mario as a whole.
I mean, that's the thing too.
Promo.
They took what made the game, like the trope of every Mario game. Bowser steals the princess, and Mario has to go through a whole bunch of trials to rescue her. He didn't even steal kidnap the princess in this. Like, I couldn't even understand what the purpose of the plot was. Like, he didn't even make the attempt to kidnap her.
Unfortunately, that's a woke situation in my eyes. I think what
I don't see that. I think they just, in their heads, when they were writing this movie, I think like I said, there's no attempt in like any sort of way to try and write anything that would even remotely be a story or being based on a story that they could pull from the material. It felt like, let's just give Easter eggs and have a fun movie. Is it fun? Yeah, I had a fun time. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's worth watching just for the funness of the movie, but I don't rate movies or watch movies with caveats. So it's like, yes, if I rate a horror movie of 5, that's like a regular movie 6, right? But I'm not gonna say that it's as good as this movie because it's not. And I think at the end of the day, this movie lacks any real substance.
I agree with that. Like,
and I think that hurts it. Where Putty's thing is, it's like they didn't even attempt to tell the story of her getting kidnapped. They were like, it wasn't even like, I don't feel like a woke scenario. They were just like, no, she's gonna fight back because it's Anya Taylor-Joy.
Well, in some ways it kind of did, but I didn't want to get into that point until later.
We'll wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so just based on what we have here, give me a score out of 10.
Oh, here's the thing. I'm just going to be generous because I actually did enjoy it. It was a fun ride. So because of that, that kind of does always bump for me. So I'm 7. I feel like it's a decent number that gives gives me excited for what's about to come. But I'm not expecting deep lore unless it's Zelda. Maybe and those things later on. But that's another video altogether. So yeah, 7.
Well, I won't be as generous. I'm going to give it a 6.3.
That's exactly what my score is, 6.3. That's pretty ridiculous. But I think, to me, both Sonic movies were 7s. The first one being a sexy 7 and the second one being a normal 7. But I don't think this movie lives in a world with those. And I think that's it for spoiler free. We're going to open the table here for spoiler talk. Putty, go ahead. I know you had something you wanted to go with.
Okay, well, so first off, I'm going to say this. A lot of the stuff I loved in there, but that laugh. I talked to somebody, someone else told me they saw the movie. They go, I didn't know the Seth Rogen. I didn't know the Seth Rogen. I don't even know Seth Rogen. They didn't really know Seth Rogen. So that laugh didn't take him out. But then knowing it really took me out of that moment. I was actually at that point really enjoying it, and not even I was even able to take away Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong and just enjoyed the moment. But then when he had him down, he goes, oh, I'm like, that ruined it. Why did that ruin it?
I didn't have issues like that because if you're going to sit here and accept Luigi and Mario's voices, then you have to be willing to accept Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
No, but that's the thing. The voice was okay. The problem was like, for example, like the way, like, for example, what's his name plays Luigi, the way he screams both in the games that fits to that character. You know what I mean?
It just sounded like Charlie to me.
Yeah.
I was like, Charlie screaming. But Charlie's laughing.
Charlie Day has that kind of like, high pitched, what I would feel Luigi would be. So it kind of fits the character. Like for some reason, Donkey Kong in my head, and this is again, just based on nostalgia and how I feel, it was more of the, I'm mean, I'm aggressive. He was way too wacky.
And that's fine. I'm just trying to make a point to like compare to, right? So when the guy whose main voice is "Let's go, aha, hee hee," was talking like this for the whole movie, that didn't take you out of the movie.
No, because the thing is, I get why.
But Donkey Kong's laugh took you out of the movie.
Because the thing is, here's the thing. Mario,
no, you lose.
No. That's what I'm saying.
Dude, he's arguing a point. And he still gave it a higher score than we did.
No, but that's what I'm saying. My point is, when it comes to the original Mario voice, it's way hard pitched. It's a way too over thing. Mario, when they used the Mario here, they brought it down to a level that seemed more normalistic. Donkey Kong always had that more normalistic for a donkey, or which would think is a
donkey.
Oh, well, yeah, you can say it.
Oh,
It's a monkey.
But hold on.
But you see where I'm going with this
I'm gonna keep this going. So the guy whose only words he's ever said were "ha ha ha," and now goes peaches, 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 peaches. That guy, that's okay with you?
Well, I mean, if you watch the old Bowser card of all those old Super Mario cartoons,
Sir,
you could kind of see that cooking.
You've been punished. You're going into
again,
the dirty corner.
This is a very different version of Donkey Kong we've ever gotten. At least the other ones were slightly. I felt
it's much more similar to the animated show that existed.
Yeah.
Which I really, please somebody make that. I need a box set of that.
There is one.
Of the Donkey Kong show?
Oh, the Donkey Kong show? No.
Country, yeah, it was actually
I know there's
Captain
Captain N.
There's there. I could get all the rest of the Nintendo stuff. I'm trying to finish off my Sonics first. Anyways, even though I'll never watch them, I just have to own them. But
it's like I bought that Quantum Leap set.
You bought it?
Yeah, of course I did.
I need it so bad. I'm never gonna watch it, but I want it so bad. Anyways,
off topic.
Staying with this, I think you said Putty's. Like I'm not using this as a reason to knock Putty. Putty just said things, and I need to combat the phrasing. But listen. You said that they didn't go too heavy on the lore. This movie's literally only Mario lore and no story in between.
Half the movie is a Mario Kart reference.
Well, no, but I'm saying more lore as far as like the story-driven lore. You know what I mean? Not like just Easter eggs.
This everywhere. Is the thing. So, it's all lore, just not interconnected. There's no tissue holding it together. So here's my thing, and I don't even really have much more to say about this movie, to be honest. I think the ending, first of all, number one, was really underwhelming.
Yeah.
I think they got to where they were going far too quickly. They covered up any growth with montages, and there's such a huge, ripe world full of things for them to do. But they literally breezed over everything. Like to go to the Donkey Kong world, it was just 2 seconds they were there. Then to go to the other place, 2 seconds they were there. And it's like, yeah, okay, you're showing us how big and lush the universe is, but you're not explaining anything about the universe.
This is where I'm going to jump in and say I understand why they did that. The thing is, I'm thinking about when I was a kid, and I think that's the reason why they did it. The 90 minutes, the shortness of this movie is just based on retention from kids. It's just so kids will watch. You want it,
but you want to retain my attention and do the same thing you did, and have them go across a line to the place like Indiana Jones style with the plane on the map. And you would have had me. I would have been like, I don't care about anything. I'll drink your milk. That's how it would have been there.
But I think that's what's going to happen. We're eventually going to get stuff like that because, again, with the success, it's huge.
Like even when they did the cart scene, if they had a map showing like the route of like Luigi's course or something, that it's something.
Picture another movie laid out in the sense of chapters, like Quentin Tarantino style, okay, where it's like chapter 1-1. And then it plays a song, and then chapter 2-2. Now he's in the next place he has to get where he's going, and it's dun 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 dun, and then chapter 3-3, and it's like these are references to the game that I would have liked that you can use to cover up those errors, rather than just montage scenes with weird 80s songs that have no place in this movie. Mind you, like I said, it was still a fun movie, but I can't sit here at the end of the day and be like impressed by this, except for the animation. The animation is phenomenal.
I mean, it's the same company that does the Minions, and it's that same vein of storytelling.
And that was my biggest argument. Not only have we seen, one guy told me, like I told you, the argument about knocking it for storytelling when, well, look what it's based on, look who it's for. I've watched many other animated movies that were not made for me, that were well written. We've watched all of the movies by Ghibli that are fantastic. You have all the Pixar movies. You have all the movies by the same studio.
But even go in the same studio, exactly. DreamWorks. Look how fantastic the first How to Train Your Dragon was.
Yeah, look at the Despicable Me 3 is really deep and rich with pop culture references. And like you can name all kinds of other stuff by them, right? And it's just the fact that they took this movie knowing what it was, said we don't have to put any effort in it, we'll slap Mario's name on it, and we're gonna make $1 billion. We're getting more, by the way. It was announced today that there will be more movies coming.
I'm not surprised. Again, going back to what we're talking before, I'm happy that you guys agree that the Sonic Ninjas are still better. I love them. Again, that's not even
They're
just
actual movies.
Yeah, those two movies are just.
There's an actual plot.
Yeah, exactly. I like Mario because it is nostalgic, geeky wise, but it's like I'm so glad, and it feels the same way even with the old games when it compares to Mario and Sonic. Mario and Sonic, all their games were always there was never a cohesive plot that went by each one, but Sonic was like robotic, taking animals and he's capturing them, roboticizing them, and you have to save those animals. You know what I mean?
See, but
like,
at what point
plot,
do you put the nostalgia aside and just take it?
I'm agreeing with what JD's saying right now.
Yeah.
If you give us the nostalgia, but you don't make that the forefront of what the movie is, you're not trying to sell me. That was my biggest argument to that guy's point. Was if this movie was not made for me, which I'm not asking for it to be made for me. Trust me.
Yeah.
Why is it full of 1980s nostalgia?
Why right down to the soundtrack?
That these kids wouldn't even know any of these references. Number one. Okay.
Kids that go to this movie say my grandpa used to listen to this music.
And anyways, but what I'm saying is Sonic doesn't slap you in the face with the nostalgia. It's just there. And I think they're using their lore in a much deeper way. Like, look at with the echidnas. You mentioned them in the first movie, but you didn't get anything with it. And then now we're starting to learn about them in the second movie. We still don't know all about them. That's how we're getting a Knuckles show. And Mario was just like, here's everything. Here, and like, we didn't need to meet Donkey Kong yet.
But here's my thing. That's the other thing that makes that also when we did a certain other show when I was talking about Sonic being more something I enjoyed was like in the comic books that went deeper into the whole Echidna tribe and everything. There's not any kind of substance for Mario in that way. That's why I feel Sonic always has that better lore.
But there is, right? Okay, this is my thing. I want to say. I know I keep saying this is the last thing, but and I know doing this would have got Putty juiced. He would have been slippery when wet. He would have been like, pour some sugar on me. Okay. If you had this whole movie, the same movie, just, stretch it out a bit, add a couple little things here and there, find a new way to defeat Bowser where you don't defeat him, you only slow him down and it leads to something else. And then they ask Princess Peach, how are we going to defeat him? She's like, I would ask for help from the Kongs, but there's no way they're going to help us after what happened last time, and never introduce us to them. Just drop that little nugget and Putty would have had 5 videos about, you mentioned the Kongs and this, and then, but now you gave us too much and we didn't need it.
True.
Because it doesn't affect the true outcome of the story, because in the end they beat him alone.
Yeah.
But then Sonic, we got that. We got just Sonic.
Yes, we did. That's what I'm saying.
We got Tails.
They slapped us with too much. There doesn't need to be this much.
And Sonic 2 even did the same thing. They brought in Shadow right at the end, and I myself, as a Sonic fan, freaked out. This one we
look at
Yoshi.
Detective Pikachu, the way it subtly gave you the things that you wanted, but it didn't just dump. Even the new Mortal Kombat, as bad as it was, it knew how to it knew how to hint at things to give you more for later.
But here's the funny thing I thought about that ending with the whole thing with Yoshi at the end. It's funny they showed that because everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And I go, "But didn't they show the Yoshis actually in when they were explaining the world? They showed the Yoshis running.
They showed the Yoshis running.
So like, how is that egg? Like, oh, I get that's Yoshi, but it's like you already showed us the dinosaurs.
What are we gonna do? We need help. I know one guy, but you're not gonna like it. No, not that guy. He sucks.
Yeah, right.
Kirby, because he sucks. Okay. And then it's going to be like at the end of the movie, you just see like a pink arm come out and hear the vacuum noise.
And what happened? What happened to no multiverse discussion?
But I'm just saying those are the kind of nuggets that I want.
I agree. Yeah,
you nuggeted me with Yoshi, but I saw the Yoshis.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I was upset about when I waited to the end of the credits. I was like, give me something juicy. When I saw Yoshi, I go, I kind of already knew that when I saw the thing.
This is the thing. That was my point about the world building. Instead of world building, they just walked past things that you recognized to get where they were going. Instead of character development, they gave you montages of someone doing something and learning something. We didn't need those things.
This movie literally was the Universal Studios tour of the Mario world without actually riding the rides.
Exactly what you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. And anyways, that's the end of our review. Thank you for watching. Tune in a couple days. You're going to get the Mandalorian review and the new episode of the RLG cast. And peace out.